Hey Shar, this is Amanda. Okay, so now that we kind of have the base idea of what's going on, we're going to go to get the lighting plot from the template Dropbox, which I've already done here. And once that's open, we're going to go ahead and save a copy. Just so this way we make sure that the template stays as a template and it doesn't actually get confused or messed up with anything. Okay, so now that I've saved that, I do not want to save, and I'm going to go up, and we're going to open template test. Okay, great. So now that we have this plot up and running, the first thing I want to explain is navigation. So over here, there's a couple of different aspects to navigation, but the first one I want to explain is layers. What layers do is separate out the plot into different items. The way I do it is light plot, lighting positions, dimmers, rulers, scenery, soft goods, and theater floor plan. And then there's a couple of different aspects that you can do. You can do active only, you can do gray others. So here I'll show you. So this grayed out anything in any layer that was not part of the theater floor plan. You can just show and snap to others, or excuse me, gray and snap to others. So this means that if you have an object, like, do you see how this is snapping? An object will snap to other layers. Then you have show others, show snap to others, and then you have show snap modify others. On this one you can modify anything from any layer. Okay, so now another aspect of this, I'm just going to run through them really quick. Dimmers are in here too, so if you need a channel number, they should have them, at least the most recent ones that I've done. Those represent the little 4-panel boxes. And then over here we have our actual dimmers. Cool. Oh, and then we also have rulers on this. So what the rulers do is, I'm going to make them all the way visible. They give out general markings for our electrics. So USITT standard is that there's 18 inches in between the center of each light to the other center of each light. So this just gives you an easy reference to make sure you have enough room. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the scenery one, which is fantastic because it looks like I edited this from 9 to 5, so this is our 9 to 5 ground plan. Whenever you import a ground plan, make sure that the origin is the same. The origin is just what everything counts up for, so the Y or the X. You can also move around the curtains in here, so you can make them longer, shorter, really whatever you need them to be. And then you have the booms on the side. Also standard marking for booms is their height. Obviously we don't always hit that, but it's a good aim just to give a reference. And then you have the coves over here and over here. And then in the notes, I find that it's a really good place to clarify what your intelligent fixtures are going to be. I make a little note about the house lights, and I also find it useful to have the spot frames there, if not in Lightrate. Alright, so now I'm just going to show you something really quick. We're going to click on the electrics. The electrics have the height on them, so you know how far up they are. And same thing with the catwalk. So let's do a flyover really quick. So let's fly over, whoop, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Alright, so now that we're in flyover, I mostly wanted to get over here just to show you that you can use this sort of as a section. So you can see how something might work. You can use a couple of lines to represent an angle. There's a lot of different things that you can do to make it work. Another great resource is Beam Draw, which I totally recommend. There's a student version and it's awesome. Okay, so now we're going to get out of this and go to top/plan. And then let's put a couple of lights down because I want to show you how to export to light rate. So let's just throw them on the FOH beam. So I'm going to pop into light plot and let's find some lights. Let's see, we used Source 4 Junior last time, so why don't we just use some Source 4s? How about some 26 degrees? Let's say we're just setting up an easy front wash. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, now I'm going to move this back so we can see what we're doing again. Alright, if you want to select multiple things at once, you can either click and drag, or you can hold down Shift to collect them. Alright, so now that we have those 4 objects, I want to take a second and call their purpose. We're going to call them warm front. Great, and their position is the FOH beam. And now, because we're going to get a little fancy with them, let's see. The FOH beam is, that's its Y value, so we're going to take that Y value, we're just going to copy it, and now we're going to apply it to these lights to make sure that they're all in the same spot. I think they already should be, but we're just going to double check. Great. And then we're going to clarify their Y positions. So this is where the ruler really comes in handy. Say 0. Let's say we're going to put this one at 7, 6. And we're going to put this one at 15. Already there. Great. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you can mirror the light. So we're going to take this light. We're going to click on this tool over here. It's the mirror tool. We're going to lay it down on the straight line, and there, it'll mirror it perfectly to the opposite of whatever you put it to. You can also do this to angle items and other stuff like that. When you're going to the other end of the origin, this is also where the origin is important, make sure you do negative numbers. Okay, so now that we have those 5 lights, let's just go ahead and pop a unit number on them. So to do that, you can either enter it manually over here in unit number, or you can come up here to Spotlight and Number Instruments. We want the field name to be unit number, we want the start to be 1, and we want the primary direction to go right to left. So we're going to hit OK. And there's our unit numbers. If you ever want to modify how the label legend looks, you can go up to Spotlight, Label Legend Manager, and let me grab the window over. Okay, so there's a couple in here. Let's just take a look at standard. So we have unit number, color, channel, Gobo 1. And then let's go take a look at how the layout of that is. Okay, so this looks to be pretty good, so we're going to leave it alone. And if you want to change that up, please feel free. If you ever get these green and red lines, what you can do is just pop to a different layer and pop back, and you should be all good. Oh, and it looks like we have a phantom light over here. Let's delete that real quick. Great. Okay, so now that we have this, I'm going to show you how to put it into Lightright really quick. So the first thing you want to do with this is you want to do a full export. So File, Document Settings, Spotlight Preferences, then we're going to do Complete Export on Exit. And then same location as the file, sounds great. So let's take a really quick look. So let's take a quick look at what we are exporting. So let's take a quick look at what we are actually exporting. yeah, this all seems like information we need to know. So great, okay. So what that has done is that's created an XML file so that Lightwrite and Vectorworks are able to talk to each other. So now I'm going to open up Lightwrite. Okay, now that we have Lightwrite up and running, what we're going to do is we're going to pop over to the Vectorworks symbol. We're going to say choose Vectorworks file. Let's see, I put mine in desktop, so sst template test.xml. Great. So we're going to open it, we're going to say use automatic Vectorworks exchange and hit OK. Alright, and then you can see our 5 items that we put in Vectorworks, and for example, let's just try testing one of these out. We're going to delete this light and delete items. That's just fine. We're going to delete. Then we're going to pop back over in Vectorworks. We're going to let it think for a second, and you can see that that light was deleted. It's also super useful to have the two synced, because if you accidentally lose information on Lightwrite or if you accidentally lose information on Vectorworks, you can always reconcile them, and that'll usually fix the problem. Alright, so that's the basics of how to get a light plot up and running in Vectorworks. Some really good practice would be to take your plot from Alice in Wonderland and try and put it into Vectorworks and sync it up with Lightwrite and just see how far you get. So, let me know if you have any questions, okay? I'll see you later.